Now, from the makers of Sinbad, Columbia Pictures presents Jason and the Argonauts.
Welcome to Ed's Media Memorabilia. Recently, I've added one of my abiding memories to my growing DVD collection. The imagery that Ray Harryhausen's Jason and the Argonauts imprinted on my mind has never been forgotten. And seeing clips of this film always transports me back in time to the thrills it gave me through TV viewings back in the 1970s. In this video, I'll be looking through the DVD's range of extras and highlighting key moments from an interview with John Landis and from a documentary which features the man himself, as well as appearances by Ray Bradbury, George Lucas, and Tom Hanks. Along with the interview and the documentary, the extras also feature the original trailer.
Where will you find this miracle? I have heard there is a tree at the end of the world, with a fleece of gold hanging in its branches.
In search of the fabulous magic Golden Fleece, Jason and the Argonauts, caught in the clutches of the towering bronze giant Talos.
A filmography section lists Harryhausen's other great achievements in film. Before we focus on the documentary, let's take a look at the 12-minute John Landis interview.
Hi, I'm John Landis, and I'm very happy to be sitting here with Ray Harryhausen, the extraordinary, what do you call yourself?
Well, that's very difficult to say.
It's entirely appropriate that John Landis should interview Harryhausen, for he is one of the many filmmakers who was inspired and influenced by Harryhausen's work. Landis is the director of An American Werewolf in London, as well as Michael Jackson's Thriller. And Landis certainly isn't the last fanboy you'll see popping up in this video.
Creator of special effects is what seems to be on the screen all the time.
It's always very impressive in one of your films, the incredible amount of personality and character you inject into these puppets, especially if you look at Talos, who has no expression. He's a man of bronze. When he's bleeding, the way he grabs at his throat. I mean, how do you get that kind of emotion from these things?
Well, in the early days, I thought I wanted to be an actor. And then I got butterflies in the stomach on opening night, and I decided that wasn't for me. I'd rather be behind the camera. But I'm grateful I took those lessons, that drama course at Los Angeles City College, because it taught me how to act and react with other people in the acting profession. So I have a sort of indirect way of acting through these models. And that's always been quite stimulating to see what comes out on the other end when you get your rushers back.
Just as with Tom Hanks later in this video, Landis can't resist a fanboy gush at the end of the interview.
It's really been a pleasure talking to you about Jason and the Argonauts, one of my favorite films, which I do want to repeat. I saw at the Pickwood Theater on Pico Boulevard near Westwood Boulevard here in LA, and I drove my bike. I remember very well. I drove my bike to see it. It was about 3 miles.
On a bicycle?
On a bicycle. And it just created what's called suspension of disbelief. We were on that beach running from Talos, and it's very exciting and, I don't know, wonderful that people can re-experience a film as worthwhile for new generations.
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
The Harryhousen Chronicles documentary is an hour-long celebration of the man's life and work. I'll only be showing you some of the highlights from it, but the documentary is worth the price of the DVD alone.
The desire to create those transformations came to him early and suddenly. King Kong, that masterpiece of stop-motion animation, instantly and permanently entered our collective consciousness and proposed his life's work to Ray Harryhausen.
The theatricality, the showmanship, I just came out awestruck, and I realized what you could do with animation. I mean, it changed my life.
The documentary blew my mind when it revealed that Harryhausen had been a lifelong friend of one of my favorite authors.
When he was in art school, he also joined a science fiction club. At its weekly meetings, he made a lifelong friend.
And lo and behold, there was a young writer struggling to get his stories published, was Ray Bradbury. And that was my first meeting with Ray Bradbury.
He was crazy about the Lost World. He was crazy about King Kong, and I was similarly crazy. And we made a pact together, and we said, we're going to grow old but never grow up. We're going to stay 18 years, 19 years old, and we're going to love dinosaurs forever.
The documentary also reveals that one of Harryhausen's dreams was to make a film of H.G. Wells' The War of the Worlds, a project that sadly never came to fruition.
This magnificent group of conceptual drawings suggests he would have taken a witty approach to one of science fiction's basic texts. This model of one of the aliens who invaded Earth implies a certain sympathy for these creatures. So does the test footage he made. It is of the story's ironic climax, showing the fearsome man from Mars succumbing to an ordinary earthly illness from which he has no immunity.
Harryhausen, along with most people, regards Jason and the Argonauts as his overall best work.
I think it was the best picture we did. I think it had highly imaginative sequences. When you talk about a seven-headed hydra, when you talk about skeletons rising out of the ground, these are memories that you don't really forget. They're totally memorable, and they don't remind you of any visual thing that you've seen.
I've seen some of the fantasy films before, but none of them sort of had the sort of awe that the Ray Harryhausen movies had, because of the fact that they're characters. There are synthetic characters that are alive, that are moving around in the sets with you, and that are affecting real people that are obviously can't possibly be real.
Ray's masterpiece and most famous sequence, the mass rising of the dead in Jason. In its complexity, it had no precedence in his work or anyone else's.
Those who steal the Golden Fleece must die.
Skeletons are really my best friends, so 7 of them was quite a challenge, and I hesitated developing that idea because what I put on paper has to be put on the screen.
Harryhausen reveals in the documentary just how exhaustive that famous skeleton battle scene was.
I was only able to average about 13 frames a day.
That's a little over a half second of film. Ray worked on this sequence 4.5 months.
Harryhausen was finally honored by the Academy in 1992 with what was, in effect, a Lifetime Achievement Award.
One of the greatest moments in my life was when Ray Harryhausen got his Oscar from the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences.
It's rare in the history of motion pictures or any other art form that 2 young men meet and promise themselves a lifelong friendship. Good Lord, what a friend to have. Someone just as crazy as I was about primeval monsters and how to get them into theaters and keep them there forever. So Ray Harryhausen, lifelong dear friend, with all my love and all my heart, come get your reward.
So the night of the awards, I was out on stage. I brought him his Oscar, we embraced, and I cried like crazy because I felt it was my Oscar too. It was an award for all the years of love and patience and paying attention to one another.
Oh my God. I don't know what to say. Thank you. Thank you so very much. It's most appreciated.
Some people say Casablanca or Citizen Kane. I say Jason and the Argonauts is the greatest film ever made.
If you enjoyed watching this video, then please consider clicking the like button and subscribing for more. My name is Ed, and I post regularly on this platform. You'll find a list of future uploads in the description section of my channel trailer. I also invite you to browse the channels that I'm subscribed to. You'll find many memorabilia and media-related channels there that may interest you. Thanks for watching.